Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. So this vlog is starting off with a little bit of traveling again. Before we get into the video, I wanted to talk a little bit about the partner for this video, which is Ana Luisa. I have worked with Ana Luisa, I think this is either the third or fourth time now. I started working with them probably about 1.5 years ago, and all of the pieces that I have gotten from Ana Luisa have become my daily pieces. I have like at least 10 pieces from them at this point, and I love all of them. Some of them include the little dagger earrings as well as the kind of chain earrings that were my dailies for multiple months. I wore them every single day. I never took them out. I slept in them, I showered in them, I went in the ocean in them. I don't think those are good practices for jewelry, but they haven't tarnished yet. They're all still pretty much in perfect condition. The brand has really good incentives as far as sustainability goes. They ship in sustainable recycled packaging. Ana Luisa is fairly transparent about it on their website. They do mention that they try to make their production process as sustainable as possible. So they are 100% carbon and water neutral from beginning to end of the production process. And they try to use recycled materials whenever possible. So they try their best to do their part and make really beautiful everyday jewelry in the most sustainable way possible, which I am a big fan of. Obviously it depends on your style, but I have always been able to find pieces on their website that I love. They have pieces that are simple yet still pretty fun designs. I have most of their pieces that have snakes on them. In fact, one of the new pieces that I got this time around was another pair of snake earrings. I know I already have a pair. So this time around I got this pair of snake earrings which have little rhinestones in them, and I have in fact been mixing and matching them with the other earrings that I have, all from Ana Luisa as well. So Ana Luisa is having a holiday sale starting on December 6th. So since they are having a holiday sale and I have a 20% off code for you, definitely take advantage if you have any friends or family that you're getting gifts for that enjoy jewelry. And I have a code that will be linked in the description box down below. So you can use the code KaylaKempers20 if you want to get 20% off your order. This Sunday we packed up and we headed to a city called Zwolle, which is another city in Holland, and we went to stay overnight at a like 500-year-old tower that basically used to be like a guard tower. That was really cool. We went and we kind of just walked around the old part of the city for a while. We went up to the top of the tower to see what it was like. We went to an old church that has actually been converted into a huge bookstore. That was fantastic. I tried in vain to find Bloodmarked by Tracy Dion. It's the second book in the Legendborn series, or it's the sequel to Legendborn, and Legendborn is still my favorite book of this year, if I read it this year. I don't remember when I read it. I think it was this year though. And it is one of my top books. So the sequel just came out, I think last week, and I tried so hard to find it and it wasn't in the bookstore, but it was still a beautiful bookstore to experience anyways. I did a little bit of writing here and there on my tablet just to get done what I could. And now it's Monday. I have work to do since I'm working technically like afternoon shifts right now. So I'm going to see how much writing I can get done before I head back to Vancouver on Thursday. Okay, so hi. I've been back from Holland it's December 3rd, so I've been back for over a week now. I wanted to check in on how NaNoWriMo went. The grand total words that I got for NaNoWriMo this year was 9,301. And I am really happy with that, considering I hadn't written any words really for the couple months leading up to NaNoWriMo. Every other time that I've tried NaNoWriMo or Camp NaNoWriMo, which has only been a few times to be fair, I have hit the 50,000 word mark or whatever goal I had set for myself, which was very satisfying at the time. But I think that I've found as I'm kind of refining my process and exploring new processes for writing and just trying to figure out how best to tell my stories, I think I've found that NaNoWriMo isn't the best way to push myself for those stories, to write those stories, unless it happens to occur in the time when I'm really drafting and I have everything laid out, I have my story planned, I know what I'm going to be writing, and I can really just draft and get it all out and I'm feeling good. If that's not the case in my current creative process, then NaNoWriMo more so just adds stress rather than healthy motivation. I think that's why the first time I ever did NaNoWriMo, it was Camp NaNoWriMo, and it's when I was writing Blood of Amberum. And I think that's why it went so well, because I hadn't written something so long in multiple years, and I had pretty much the whole thing planned out. I was super excited about it, and I just needed to start writing. So Camp NaNoWriMo served me really well that spring because I knew exactly what I was writing. It was a fresh draft. I hadn't written in so long. I had so many words to get out that it worked really well. I think when I did NaNoWriMo, when I was writing Between the Waves, that I still won NaNoWriMo, and I would say it went well, but I think it happened too fast. So it was too fast of a draft, because since then, it's obviously been a year since I started that book. I've changed the structure of it multiple times. I've changed the ideas multiple times. I've rewritten things multiple times. And I can't help but think that if I hadn't rushed it so much, and I also had kind of some outside influence around that time that came through social media and was just something that I wasn't really able to handle very well at that point. I think that if I had not done it that way, I would have been further along now and I wouldn't have burnt myself out with the story. And regardless of how aware a creator is of influence on social media, you still get sucked into it fairly easily. And it's still almost impossible to create content on social media or consume social media without that background influence of thinking, are people gonna like this? Is this what my viewers wanna see? Is this what other creators are doing that seems like it's successful for them? No matter how aware you are of those things and how much work you do on yourself in order to avoid that influence as much as possible, it's always in the back of your head. You know, creators don't get to create in a vacuum where those things don't exist. It's actually a couple days later because my camera died and then I didn't have time to finish the video or finish what I was talking about. But all of that was to say, I think the influence that I was feeling sort of ended up affecting my creative writing process more than I thought it did, specifically when it came to deciding how to actually tell the story. At first, it started off as I was gonna make it a trilogy. I had ideas for a trilogy, it felt like it was supposed to be a trilogy, and that was how I started writing it. And then I started to panic, and this was where the outside influence came in, I think, because there isn't really a way for you to not be influenced, at least a little bit, when you're doing research. So if I'm doing research on how I want to publish this book one day, and if I want to try and go traditional publishing versus self-publishing, which is quite a bit of research that I did over the past couple of years, I think that there were just so many different avenues of that research, and I heard from so many different people. And as I learned more about traditional publishing, which is what I think, or I thought I wanted to do, I still don't really know, I learned that with traditional publishing, it's usually a better idea to pitch a book as a standalone book, and then it has the potential for series. And I don't think that this is necessarily an influence that was wrong for me. Like, I don't think that's incorrect. That's literally what I was told in my professional novel writing class. So I feel like there's truth in that, and it is a big risk for a publisher to put all this money towards a book by a brand new author that wants to sell it as a series, because the publisher doesn't even know how good your first book is going to be. So it's much more difficult to actually sell multiple books when no one knows if you're a good writer or if people are going to like your story yet. And obviously, publishers are there to make money. I think sometimes you get lucky and you get a publisher that also really, really loves your story and feels like it needs to be told. But at the end of the day, for publishers, you know, that's their job. They need to make money from it, so they're going to try and take on books that they think are going to sell well, and also books that don't have, you know, such a high risk if they don't sell well. Trying to sell your story as a trilogy rather than just a standalone novel has a much higher risk for a publisher. And I feel like most publishers wouldn't do that anyways. So because of all of that, I have sort of arrived at this place where I'm going back and forth again, story of my life, but I feel like it's just part of the creative process as well. And I kind of think I want to write it as the trilogy that I originally had planned in the first place. I think that now is a really exciting time because we have so many indie publishers and kind of really small team publishers popping up, and self-publishing is so much more accessible to people now. There are just so many ways to publish, and with Between the Waves, I think it needs to be multiple books. I think that it is a whole collection of stories and a whole world full of stories that I really want to write multiple of, and I think I need to in order to get the satisfaction from bringing that idea to life. I don't think it'll be complete unless there are multiple books and multiple stories and like novellas and little side stories and that sort of thing. I think I might restructure Between the Waves again and do some more writing and think about the whole world, because I genuinely love the world so much, and every time I write Between the Waves, even if it's a crappy writing day, there are more stories within the world that pop up that just need to be told. So I don't know, I think I might do some restructuring, continue the self-reflection, because I think that's been really helpful. Consider further avenues of publishing, whether that be an indie publisher or going into self-publishing, or literally just publishing my stories on Wattpad. I don't know. It could be any avenue, and I think that I have a lot to still look into and a lot to still work on, and so many stories to still tell, maybe before any even get published. Maybe Between the Waves won't even ever get published, but I just know I need to write all of the stories in that world. So those are my thoughts. I got less than 10,000 words for NaNoWriMo. I am not upset about it whatsoever, because sometimes the most important progress that you make doesn't even have to do with the words that you're writing. In fact, I found that the biggest breakthroughs I've had with my stories haven't occurred when I'm just madly trying to get words out as quick as possible. They happen when I do a lot of self-reflecting and I don't write for multiple weeks or multiple months. I give the story time to develop outside of my brain almost, rather than forcing it. Yeah, that's where we're at. I hope you enjoyed the little ramble. Just another quick shout out to the partner of this video, which is Ana Luisa. They are having a holiday sale starting when this video goes up, I believe. It starts on December 6th. You can also get 20% off if you use my code, which is KaylaKempers20, and I will also leave a link down below in the description box so that you can use that. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to smile, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.